Have you ever seen a great improv show and just been blown away, wondering how do they do that? A whole team of people building a world with characters and a story right there on the spot with absolutely nothing planned. Well, today, we're going to pull back that curtain and explore the hidden system behind all that magic.
And really, that's the big question, isn't it? How do you create a story from literally nothing? See, this isn't just about being funny. It's a fascinating look at spontaneous creation itself. Improv isn't just chaos, not at all. It's actually a complex, adaptive system that follows a surprisingly elegant set of rules.
Okay, so here's our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to start with the one foundational rule of improv. And from there, we'll see how it builds up, creates a hidden structure, and then we'll see how these ideas can actually ripple out and impact the world way beyond the stage. So let's start with the absolute bedrock of it all, the engine that makes everything else possible. It's just a simple phrase, but trust me, it's the spark that ignites the entire creative fire. So yes and sounds simple, but it's actually this incredible two-part engine. The yes part is all about pure acceptance. Whatever your scene partner says, you agree. That establishes a shared reality. It creates unity. Then comes the and. That's what gives the scene forward momentum. You add a new piece of information that builds on what they just said. It's this constant, powerful feedback loop of agreement and creation. And to really get how powerful this is, you have to look at its opposite, which improvisers call blocking. So imagine one performer says, "Look out, a dragon." If the other one says, "That's not a dragon, it's a puppy," the entire scene just dies. The system crashes. It's like hitting a brick wall. Yes and keeps that creative loop spinning, while blocking just shuts the whole thing down. Okay, so what happens when an entire team starts using this rule? This is where things get really interesting. You see a shift from I to we, and something much bigger than any single person on stage starts to emerge. And this is the guiding principle that makes it all work. It's a pretty radical shift in focus. You're not out there trying to be the star or get the big laugh. Your job is to make your partner look good, to make the scene the star. This keeps the whole system in a beautiful state of equilibrium, where energy flows between everyone instead of being hoarded by one person. And when that clicks, when everyone is focused on supporting each other, you get this incredible phenomenon called the group mind. It's this emergent state where the whole team seems to be thinking with one brain, anticipating each other's moves, and building something together that, honestly, no one could have possibly planned alone. But here's the wild paradox at the heart of it all. To reach this group state, you have to completely surrender your own ego and your desire to control the scene. But, and this is the tricky part, at the very same time, you have to be more committed, more present, and bring an even stronger point of view to the table. You give up control of the outcome, but you double down on your contribution to the moment. So if yes and is the fuel and the group mind is the vehicle, what's the map? Well, this is where the Ouroboros theory comes in. It's named for that ancient symbol of a snake eating its own tail, which represents a self-sustaining cycle. And it gives us 4 pillars to understand the hidden forces that actually structure all of this creative chaos. And this framework connects everything so beautifully. Unity, which is born from yes and, is what creates that shared reality. Balance, which comes from making your partner look good, keeps the whole system stable and healthy. And then you have this dynamic duo that really drives the story forward. Symmetry is about recognizing the patterns that naturally start to emerge in a scene and then heightening them. But, just repeating patterns gets boring. And that's where paradox comes in. It's the engine of change, the willingness to take a risk, to introduce a disruptive idea that breaks the pattern and pushes the story in a totally new, exciting direction. And you can see these pillars at work in different styles of improv. Short form, the quick games you might see on TV, relies really heavily on unity and balance for that immediate punchline. Long form, on the other hand, where performers build a whole 30-minute show from a single suggestion, is all about spotting that symmetry and embracing paradox to create a really complex, meaningful story. Okay, now this is where the system gets truly brilliant. In pretty much every other part of life, a mistake is something to be avoided, or at least fixed. In improv, a mistake is a gift. It's an unexpected source of creative fuel. The philosophy is just beautiful. A tilt, an error, a weird choice, a forgotten line. It's not a mistake to be corrected. It's a brand new piece of information that must be woven into the fabric of the story. It becomes the one unique note that makes the entire song what it is. The process itself is simple but so profound. First, the mistake happens. You can think of it as a random shock to the system. Second, you justify it. You treat it as if it were intentional all along. So if you accidentally trip on stage, well, guess what? Your character now has a bad leg. And third, you heighten it. That bad leg doesn't just go away, it becomes a central part of the story. You literally turn chaos into a new, unexpected source of order.
And when an entire team gets really good at doing this, they enter what psychologists call a flow state. This is where the group mind is just operating at its absolute peak. To the audience, the performance seems so seamless and perfect that you can't believe it isn't scripted. It feels inevitable, all because the performers treated every single so-called mistake as a golden opportunity. So, okay, this is all fascinating for actors on a stage, but why does any of it matter if you're not a performer? Let's zoom out and see how these principles apply pretty much everywhere, from the boardroom to our daily lives.
Think about it. A yes and mindset in a company can transform a toxic no-but culture into one of true collaboration and innovation. In our personal lives, it helps us navigate all the unexpected curveballs with more resilience. And ethically, it's about building bridges. It's about accepting someone else's reality before you add your own. It's an incredibly powerful tool for connection. Because when you boil it all down, the ultimate goal of improv isn't just to get a laugh. At its best, it's a method for exploring human connection. It's a practice for telling the truth of a moment and creating shared meaning right out of thin air. And that leaves us with a final thought to chew on. We've seen how improvisers use mistakes, risk, and tension as the very engine of their creativity. So the question for all of us is, where in our own lives can we stop seeing conflict as a problem to be solved and start seeing it as the fuel for creating something new?